I'm giving it the best that I got. Yes, I'm so glad today's over. What's going on? It's Elove here, and I'm trying to figure some things out and make some things happen. And today I relied so much on three things, I believe. It's most times I say something, it's going to be three things. It's my favorite number, but it's going to be reframing, relativity, and then also teamwork. And all three of those led to my success today in different ways. Now, when it and these skills aren't going to be important, or just skills, mindsets are going to be really important whenever you're learning a new skill or you're guiding someone else through a new skill. Because when it comes to that reframing, as you're learning new things, you're trying to also get rid of old habits, old thoughts, and things like that. So your first response may be that of the older version of you. So when I was actually today, I had a meeting where I was kind of guiding someone through facilitating a virtual instructor-led training, and I'm like, who am I to be telling this guy who how to do this? And I was like, he's been doing this for years. He doesn't need my help at all. This is cool. My knowledge is not important. And as I told him I gave him this feedback and things like that, and I was like, oh well, I forget that I have been doing this. Like I've done this for years, and I've put like tens of thousands. I feel like I should be at 10,000 hours at this point in my life, but just hours when it comes to instructor-led training, both virtually and in person. And so I gave him these things. We were talking about things. I made a list of things to be mindful of and to make sure that we were aware of when we were doing this and how to communicate these things. And then I wanted to do my part because it was his first time doing an instructor-led training with the company, and it was his with the company, given the technology, and it was a quick turnaround for this course. So I was like, cool. I'm also going to attend the session to see if I can support you in any way to use the new technology and to kind of help you touch on key points, make this easier for you for the first live instructor-led training. And I'm so glad that I did, because all the things that I told him to do um, were so valuable to making sure that the message was clear. And then also things that he did not do, I was like, there was a reason why I did that, because it led to the questions. It also it would have minimized the chances of you having these errors. That's why I recommended that you created the slides, you make these notes, or you leave these pauses, you ask these questions the way that we did. Um, and it just made me really important. It made me feel really good, but I also had to constantly reframe my thoughts about my value in this situation to make sure that I'm looking at the current eddy. And that reframing also factors in relativity. So I may be thinking of the older version of me, but if I look back to the last trainings that I did, at every meeting that I've had, every consultation that I had, just been being with this current company in the last 12 months, correction, 12 weeks, like I've proven that I have the expertise to do these things. So, but when I look back at 2021 Eddie, and I was like, I'm such an introverted person. I had a hard time communicating my ideas. I didn't know how to address things or how to word and phrase things. And that's that's not the case for a lot of situations now. So I had to just make sure that I'm looking at, am I pulling my data or my evidence from the most recent version of myself? So that's that relativity. And then also the teamwork aspect. I'm getting ready to do my first instructor-led training myself with this new company, and there are still some things that I'm learning about the industry. So I switched from finance to engineering, completely two different industries. I'm still a talent development specialist, but there's still a lot that I think, just when it comes to a new company, learning about the company, learning about the industry takes time. And so I wanted to make sure that I'm relying on my team, my peers, and my counterparts to make sure I'm preparing myself to not only lean on the skills that I have, but also how do I adjust them to make sure I'm speaking to my audience and I'm focused on key things that they're also valuing with this company and for the project we're working on. And it requires me to kind of be mindful of my ego quite a bit, because I'm like, once again, I've been doing this for years at this point. I have 17 years in training and development, which is crazy to me. But every time, every company is different, every situation is different, and I may not always be aware of those of the different contexts or the norms. So I do need to rely on my team. Like, hey, how does this sound to you? Do you think this is great for this audience? How do you think I can adjust this? Not meaning that it's not meaning that I'm going to take all of their feedback, but I am going to make sure be mindful of these things because once again, with this guy that I was kind of providing the consulting to and the coaching to, um, I was a part of this. Together, we were able to make a great instructor-led training for that first session. But then I also know that for my future trainings, like I need to rely on a teamwork mindset to make sure that I'm successful. And because of all three of those things, I got to the end of my day and I felt very successful because I'm in no way, like I am extremely stressed out right now in the best ways because these are all things that I chose to do. But it's also, I need to be mindful of change management. I'm 13 weeks into this new job. I'm 7 months into this new life that I created. I've changed a lot about myself, and it still requires me time to adjust to this new life. And I did beat myself up quite a bit today, and I sat on the couch and I had some moments where it just felt like, why am I doing all this? But I'm grateful that I take moments to reflect like this because it reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that it's worth it. Um, I hope that I changed my filler words from and to but I still don't want any filler words. But when I look back on this, I'm excited to see what it is. All right, with that, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening. It's been a good day. Remember, are you pulling, I think the most important thing, are you pulling evidence from the most recent version of yourself? Because I'm like constantly pulling outdated information for myself and my friends. So just be mindful of that as you go through experiences. Like, is this old you or is this old them that you're holding this grudge with, or is this the newer version? Relativity. It's crazy and it's hard to overcome because the mind just pulls a collective data and sometimes it can't sever. I'm done. Bye. Good night. Take care.